Well, hey there, everyone. I'm 10 News reporter Beau Zimmer. We are here in Hernando County scouting out some of our various evacuation routes out of the state of Florida. There's a lot of people sitting at home right now watching the path of this storm kind of fluctuate with a lot of uncertainty still. And, you know, there are people trying to make that decision right now. Am I going to leave tonight? Am I going to leave tomorrow morning? Can I even get out of town if I want to? Is there going to be enough gas along the route to get me out of the state of Florida if that's what I want to do? There may not be any hotel rooms. You may have trouble booking rooms. You may have trouble finding a flight. These are all things that people are dealing with right now. So we're actually evacuating ourselves, or doing a test evacuation as we drive from Pinellas County up the state to see what the routes are looking like tonight across the state of Florida. I'm with photojournalist Wayne Wachunas here. He's driving along. He's going to be driving. I've driven from Pinellas. Wayne's going to be driving this next leg as we head up towards maybe Gainesville, that direction.
Up 75.
We want to check out 75, but we want to check out US 19, because that's another route that people, especially in Pinellas, might look to take if they're trying to get up into the Panhandle. The concern about US 19, and one of the things we want to look at, is once you get a little further up 19, is there gas available? You know.
Well, we noticed that here as we got off in Brooksville on 50. You can see this Wawa is out of gas, and we saw other stations closer to the veterans that are out of gas.
Yeah, the key is there is still gas certainly available along the route. Even one of the things you said to point out, Wayne, even if they've got bags over some of the pumps, they may still have premium gas. So if you've got enough money, or you're willing to pay the extra few cents for the extra 50 cents a gallon for that premium gas, that is an option in many cases. So you really have to go up and check the pump to see what's going on. But let me swing around here, and we're going to walk up and take a look here. Yeah, so this is the Wawa, and we're I think on State Road 50 in Brooksville, and right about 41. This would be Hernando County, and you can see it does look like they are out of almost everything. I can't tell if they might still have diesel. Yeah, they may still have diesel here. But what about the premium?
Locked down. I don't know. These are all locked down.
Okay.
So this is the only one that would be working.
Gotcha. Okay, so and you can see the prices up here as well. $269 for regular if they did have it. So we're going to go ahead and hop on the road, and we're just going to see how far away would you say, Wayne, are we from I-75?
About 10 to 12 miles.
Okay, so we'll be hitting I-75 here pretty soon, and that's what I really am interested in seeing. By the way, we were on the Veterans just a little while ago, and the Veterans Expressway was actually pretty impressive because the Suncoast Parkway really had very little traffic. And again, the tolls have been rescinded, so there are no tolls right now. So you've got a free ride up the Veterans as it turns into the Suncoast Parkway. And so we're going to pull out of here and take a left. Eventually, as we get around here. Traffic on the roads today has been surprisingly light. And Wayne and I were speculating a little earlier that maybe a lot of people are off work today, or have taken off work as they work to get some of their final preparations done. You know, there are a lot of people I talk to who are staying in town, but they're just not on the roads. They may be working at home. Other people I'm seeing, we did see some people pulling through the Wawa parking lot looking for gas. I saw one with a Kentucky license plate, so I imagine some people are probably getting out of town. So we're going to do a little bit of a U-turn here, and we're going to be heading back up towards 75. So we started today right a little after 5 o'clock in Pinellas Park, and our first order of business was to top off the tank, because we only had about 3/4 of a tank, and we wanted to be full, completely full before we left Pinellas County, just because we weren't sure what the fuel situation was going to be like, especially once we got up towards 75. So as I come over here, you'll see our fuel situation. We got a range of about 379 miles, so we've got still a pretty full tank, and we are just going to trek along.
Yeah, when we were in Pinellas County, we noticed that all the major gas stations did have fuel.
Yeah.
Some of the smaller ones had plastic bags on the pumps. So there seemed to be plenty of gas all the way up through Pinellas County.
Right.
And even the stations that don't have gas now, up until the storm gets closer, they will be getting deliveries. So as long as the delivery trucks are out, one station who didn't have gas in the morning might have gas in the afternoon or in the next morning.
Yep.
So it's really hard to say who's going to have it and who's not going to have it.
Okay, for those of you who've been commenting, I didn't have the comments up on my screen. Now I do. So I'm looking at any of your comments now in real time. Sherry saying crazy people are not getting out. I think there are, and I think now that there's a lot more or continued uncertainty in this storm's path, and you know, the latest tracks make it look like it could impact a huge portion of the state of Florida with potentially hurricane force winds, certainly tropical storm force winds. That's going to be that's gonna really have a lot more people evacuating, and I think that's what we're seeing with some of the traffic on the interstates right now. Those people further to the south, down in Naples and Fort Myers and even Miami and that East Coast, are all trying to come up either 95 or across Alligator Alley and then up 75. Because there's just a lot of uncertainty, and people just whether or not they're afraid for their lives, or they just don't want to have the inconvenience of several days without power, the lack of air conditioning, things that we're all so used to in many cases. Some people just say, the heck with this, if I've got the means, I'm going to get out of town. And if you see any animals, please bring them in, Teresa says. Jennifer says, what's your opinion about Dade City or Zephyr Hills? And I'm not the meteorologist here, but certainly if you're away from the coast, I've heard a lot of people offer the advice that consider evacuating tens of miles, not hundreds of miles. We were talking about that earlier as well, Wayne. If you're far enough from the coast and you're not in a mobile home or some other type of structure that's going to be blown away by a minimal type hurricane, and you think your structure is going to be fine, then it probably is best to stay in place and not deal with some of these other issues. Again, I'm not one of the experts. Listen to your local emergency management officials and what they're telling you county by county, because there are certainly things, if you live along the coastline in Pasco County, as conditions change, they're going to have the most specific information for you. Same for Pinellas and Hillsborough, which is going to be much different than the advice for Highlands and Hardy County. And it's all going to depend as this storm approaches, the track it takes, and there are going to be different hazards for different areas, whether it be wind damage in the center of the state or the potential of storm surge and flooding along the coastline.
And flooding inland. If you're like along a river or a creek or in a low-lying area that you've experienced flooding before from heavy rainstorms, this will have rain. Maybe not huge amounts of rain, but it will have rain, so be aware of that.
So again, we're on our way heading towards 75. So far, it's been smooth sailing coming up through Pinellas, Pasco, and Hernando counties on some of these side roads. We're heading up to 75 now. Eventually, we're going to cut over to US 19 to see what that road is looking like, just to see, if there is a lot of congestion on 19. And we're doing this because there are so many people out there that have concerns about evacuating. They want to evacuate. They want to get out of town, but they're concerned about getting stuck in traffic. They're concerned about the fuel shortages, and so that's kind of what we're trying to check out, and also you know, see if there are other things that maybe we didn't think of. And one of those wild cards is going to be, and that's constantly changing, is going to be the weather, and that's going to depend. You know, as we left today, we hit a few, you know, minor showers, and of course that's going to make the road slick. And the last thing you want to do in this type of situation is get into an accident. So just, you know, especially along I-75 when you're in that stop and go traffic, you know, just be extra alert, and make sure you don't get in a rear end type collision where your vehicle then is disabled, and now you got to be rescued off the side of the road in a situation where you've got a lot of people you know, dealing with a lot of different things. So here's a Speedway gas station here coming up, and you see a ton of cars there. So that one did appear to have gas, but oh, there's a long line at that particular station. So so now we're coming up closer and closer to the interstate, and I expect as we get closer to 75, we're going to start seeing longer lines for everything, not just the gas, but if you stop by a McDonald's, I imagine you're going to have longer lines at the drive-thru. We even stopped at a Starbucks. I've got my Starbucks down here at the cup holder. We even stopped at a Starbucks right off the Suncoast Parkway. They happen to be out of the coffee that I like to get. I don't know the reason for that, but I did ask the lady there at the drive-thru window, and she did confirm to me that they had been a lot busier than they normally would be for whatever reason. So is this we getting close to 75?
Yep.
I feel like it's right over the next hump here.
Yeah, the other thing to think about is if you don't know where you're going, you just want to get out of town, you really have to check ahead on room availabilities at different hotels and that, because
right.
I imagine anything on a major road, once you get out of the danger area, that's when you're going to really be finding it hard to book rooms or find a place to stay.
And so that's exactly what my family is dealing with. So my dad and mom and my grandmother, so I've got a grandmother in her 80s, and they just don't want her to be in any type of situation where, I mean, she's in good health and everything, but they don't want a situation where there's no air conditioning or no power for several days at a time. So they want to get out, and I think they plan on leaving probably first thing tomorrow. And so this will be important information for them, kind of what we're checking out and scouting out. The problem, as we discussed earlier, this is all very fluid, and you know, probably things can change between now and tomorrow. But we want to give you the latest look at what we're seeing here live, and and so you're so definitely on the west side of 19, and so my family is all in Seminole, right off of Lake Seminole, which is an area where you would certainly have some flooding concerns if there was a storm surge threat. Not that that's necessarily going to be the case, or even probably going to be the case, but certainly you know, if you get any types of hurricane force winds in that area, you could have the probability of losing power. In fact, you know, the condominium complex they all live in might shut off the power on their own at some point. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. So here comes I-75 up ahead. Let's see here. So we got a little construction here, and that's the other wild card is you know, construction issues. Although I can't imagine they're going to be working on the roads over the next couple days too much, but you can see they have, you know, lanes shut off here, or at least barricades. And wow, you know, as I look at 75, it does not look bad at all here. You can see the cars going off in the left direction across your screen.
Big racetrack over there, and it looks like they have fuel.
Yeah, so the racetrack gas station there, one of the big ones off the interstate. There's a RV pulling in there now. Boy, Wayne, you and I were live. We had a live shot from this intersection here back a few months back.
Yes,
I remember.
we did.
I feel like it was raining that night. We had we had it right before a big rainstorm.
Yeah.
I
remember the story.
Yeah, it was the guy that it was somebody that led police on a high-speed chase that went all the way up to Ocala, and then there were a bunch of cars run off the road, and I guess the guy was from this area. I think it started in this area. So, boy, you look up at the sky. It's a beautiful evening now, but a lot of traffic, a lot of semis getting back on the interstate. People that are probably refueling here at the various gas stations, or maybe pulling off here to grab a bite to eat at the Taco Bell or the Waffle House. I imagine hotels like this one, the Holiday Inn Express, are probably pretty well booked up over the next several nights. I know a lot of the rooms, from just talking with people who've been looking for rooms, are definitely booked up. And maybe that's something we can do, Wayne, at some point. Maybe we stop at one of these roadside hotels and just check. It's one thing if you call or try to do something online. I'd like to know, just talk to the guy at the front desk and find out, are they really fully booked up? I always wonder that, or if it's just the computer telling you.
Well, traffic isn't horrible, but I can already see that there's more traffic than you would normally have at 7:45 on a weekday night.
Right. Wayne, your clock is always
a little fast.
Yeah, a few minutes fast, so it's probably, what, 7:40 now?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there?
Yeah, about 7:40.
So this is our first look this evening at I-75, and I'm sure there are spots, and maybe before I say this, I need to get over this hump, but because I do see some brake lights ahead. But this is doable. This is not what I pictured. I was picturing much worse than this, based on some of the pictures I've seen on TV and things like that. But this doesn't look too bad right now.
You could drive.
Yeah.
Doing 60 miles an hour.
Okay, so we're doing 60, and so the traffic is moving, but it's there are cars here on the road for sure. Not as many going in the other direction, although there's some cars heading south. One of the questions that we had in our newsroom today, we were hearing that Georgia had started taking some of their interstate lanes and doing the contraflow, where they put all lanes going in the northbound direction. It does not appear that we're in that situation yet here in Florida, but certainly that's something that could potentially happen. For a second. Okay. We are back. Sorry we lost your connection. Okay, so we're continuing here along I-75. This is a live look at I-75. Just want to give you a picture. We are kind of in Hernando County, approaching probably, Citrus County next. And I know Sumter County's coming up here somewhere. And we're going to continue driving, showing you the route along the way. We're going to check on US 19. We're going to have a full report coming up on Nightside tonight at 11. But I'll be checking back in here on our 10 News Facebook page throughout the evening, giving you live looks at our evacuation from the state of Florida, seeing just how easy or difficult it is to get out of town. For photojournalist Wayne Wuchunas, I'm Beau Zimmer. We'll talk to you again shortly.